Hi everyone, I'm super excited to host Yankun. He's the founder of Minus Design Labs. One of the things I find it super inspiring about Yankun's journey is from architecture to software development journey to building this product. We need so many such heroes in our industry to like make disruptive products. So the moment I saw your first version when you like dropped the flow plan and the extrusion, and I was like this is so much needed in our industry. So thanks a lot for that initiative and building such an amazing product.
Well, thanks for the invite. I'm very
Yeah. Yankun, tell us post your architectural education, what was the pivotal point of you going to the software development route?
yeah. I think I had It's a long story, right? I think the pivot point was like the third year undergrad was a long time ago, and there were a couple people you also interviewed before where they were like also a source of inspiration. I don't know if I should mention the name. Should I? Okay, pretty awesome people. Sergey was on your interview before, and he also was my TA. So some of the phase of work were some sort of inspirational, and yeah, a lot of people. I went to Pratt, so a lot of people at Pratt used Grasshopper at the time. I sort of like just watch and draw a lot of inspiration. Like, wow, this is such a cool tool. It make array of boxes automatically. I don't have to manually draw them. That's awesome. So I would say like a visual impression was like the main driven factor at the very early days.
And yeah, please continue.
Oh, sure. So I guess later on, I see a lot of. So at the time, WeWork was out there, right? And they're doing like office automation was pretty awesome. I see like designers be able to generate thousands of iterations just by a few clicks. I was like, wow, this is something really fascinating me. And I was lucky enough to join, then I think it's a startup called I built, and they're doing modular generative design for prefabricated modular buildings, so that anyone can generating massing and mixture of units types, and also with all this zoning consideration, having different setbacks, all of that together, generating the design with this modulars, which is super cool. I learned a lot from there. I think that was probably the starting point where I started to digging into software developments, back end, and then from back end to front end, understanding a lot of things on that point.
This is amazing. I like even your work experience at TT Core Studio, I Build Group. If I were to say one or two memories of working there, what would be those?
Yeah, Core Studio, it was amazing experience for sure. A lot of talented people. I met a lot of talented people there. So I mean, when I was before I joined Core, maybe I was just like too isolated in my own world. I didn't know many firms so publicly heavily developing softwares, automating things and process. So when Core was one of them, definitely I was excited, hyped about joining them, and after joining, of course, learned a lot of very cutting edge technologies developed in the team, like AI, machine learning. Before ChatGPT shows up, there's already a lot of research work been done there. So definitely eye-opening, and yeah, for sure.
And what was like the seed for Minus Design Lab? Like what inspired you to the build?
Yeah, so Minus Lab sort of coming very early days, way before I started doing any coding.
Ah,
It was actually the idea grew when I was a student here, and I need to move in apartment every time. So basically, I'm moving in a new apartment every year, and it was tiring. And picking stuff that would fit in the new space, it was like a whole lot of processes, right? But I think, especially back in the day, you didn't even have a Uber. You only have Subway, and I was so far away from IKEA. IKEA was like the only probably brand I know, and was so affordable. So for a lot of times, I moved stuff back to the apartment. I was like, oh no, it doesn't fit,
mm,
or it's not like the way that I want it to be. And I've oftentimes have to carry the thing, like take it apart and then put it back into the box, move it back to IKEA. That's the whole process. So I was like, well, isn't there a tool that already on the market I can use to simply just automating these things, right, in the space? It's so I can imagine other New Yorkers here probably having the similar problems. So I was like, yeah, I wanted to do that, and finally, after teaching myself how to coding, that become like the first idea I wanted to leverage my skills to build.
and how long did it took to build you the first prototype?
Wow. So Everything was from Grasshopper. I actually built that one on my YouTube channel.
Huh.
But I built like, hey, this is the, hey, I finally be able to pick the pixels from the image, and then the video was pretty rough. It was like just using the best case scenario input data. It was just black and white, super clean cut black and white image. And because it's black and white, so it's easy to differentiate what are the pixels I need to pick. And then that was a starting point. I made the video and people were like asking, hey, this is interesting. This could be like a foundation of some ideas. And they were like, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? I was like, oh, let me think. Maybe I can use this actually for my own idea.
Hmm.
And then but that was like that took like a couple hours to build, but then that was a hard coded. Realized it
I see.
couldn't really be applied to the actual real cases. In real life, you have floor plans that look like a graphic design or a completely not a traditional floor plan you think you would. So basically, I've seen enough variations of floor plans that I decided to, okay, I cannot manually handle this with a hard coded, Python codes or C# codes. Have to build a machine learning model that'll be able to recognize all these different variations of floor plans to
Yeah, like I have dealt with floor plans and the amount of variation in line weight, even flooring textures, even like is it black and white
yeah,
colored?
right.
So I can imagine like it might be easier to make the prototype, but to make it like production, there's so many edge cases like for this floor plans.
Yeah, absolutely. I even see like the very abstract version of floor plan where you like instead of drawing the floor plan, you fill up the non-floor plan area with a super solid black color, and then the entire floor plan looks like it's sunken down into the ground. You know what I'm saying? It has a special effect. What I'm saying is, it doesn't look like trying. Like very 3D feel. It feels like 3D floor plan. It's like um.
Mm. That's an extreme edge case.
Yeah, but yeah, a lot of variations. Yeah, that's a big problem.
What has been the proudest moment in the Minus Design Lab?
Proudest moment. I don't know. I feel pretty excited when I see everything falling in places, because there are so many moving parts. You have to first of all recognizing floor plan, second of all recognizing spaces, and third of all to actually place furniture in there. I think all these things are separated completely. None of them were there at the beginning, and the day that I see everything shows up, I was like, oh, right.
Yeah.
That was pretty awesome. That was pretty exciting, I would say. Probably the
Yeah.
happiest moment.
And also the way, like, when I saw the GIF, the animation makes it more like engaging. Like, it's not just extrudes and give it, like, they kept it in a way. So,
Yeah, most of the users are not technical background people. So to help them understanding what's going on, I think visual attraction is one biggest point. And most of architects don't really care, right? Hey, I just need a 3D, drop the floor plan, give me a 3D file, that's it. But for end users who are not from architecture or any technical backgrounds, they wanted to see like how did this from a plan image to a 3D content that they'll be immediately attracted as well. That's what I'm experienced. Also from testing with the users, they're also expressing, wow, this is so cool. That attracted them and helped them to, I guess, getting comfortable with the tool or getting more excited about this tool.
dude, I have so much respect, like, you doing everything alone, like, to build this product. It's not at all easy. Like, technical users and there's so many areas you have to handle.
Yeah. Yeah, you also build like something similar, right? Like the whole draw of building for non-technical people.
It's fun, sleepless nights, but it's fun. Yeah. Yeah, Yankun, it might be a great time to walk us through how the product works and the interface.
Sure. Yeah, I'd love to share um the current version of this website. Let me share my screen real quick. So you see real quickly. Oh, yeah. Or can you see this?
Yeah, now I see the
All right,
screen.
cool. Yeah. So basically, this is a project board dashboard of all the projects I tested with. Essentially, this is my demo project board. Essentially, to begin with, you need to upload a floor plan image. That's not what I need. So usually I just start with the building. currently residing in. And so essentially, what do you do? We just drag the floor plan in here. And by the way, this is a Google search, so I'm not sure this is gonna work. So essentially, it's gonna recognize the floor plan, but then as you can see, it was still having like a difficulty recognizing the super low quality floor plans. But we can try again, and we can try again with different ones that probably have a higher resolution. Sometimes they just don't provide you enough high quality image that can cause the problem.
We just see the screen.
Oh, oh, it doesn't
Yeah,
show the entire thing.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I know you're drag and dropping, so like just yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. There's another window I opened up that's a Google search image, and I just drag whatever image I see and drop out here. So sometimes the image quality is not so good, which is out of control. But for this one, for this particular one that you see, it's okay. It looks like it's not so bad. So essentially, once you drag over the image from the Google search or whatever image you find, it will be able to identify these architectural elements and start to extruding them into appropriate forms. For this label kitchen, as we're essentially training a model in the background that recognizing all these different elements. And for this one, for this particular one, that we thought, the kitchen is still in progress. So currently they don't recognize this at this point, but we're definitely training this to improve the functionality, make the kitchen also automatically recognized. And after that, it's able to recognize the segmented of the spaces. The reason we don't directly provide the labels for the spaces is like in New York, you use space for multiple
Mm,
purposes, right? It's so small, and some people use bedroom for office, some people dividing the bedroom into office and bedroom. So it's really hard to say, what exactly this space is. So for example, I can, put this as a bedroom, this is office. In New York specifically, that provides, trying to provide as much flexibility as possible in here. So once you do that, you provide labeling the spaces, then let the backend to handle the rest. It will essentially placing the furniture in there. Let me actually close out this window, make it a little bit larger. Okay. So yeah, it will just place some dummy furniture at this point in the spaces that you select, and then you can always, click again, iterating, try out different furniture and stuff in there. And we're definitely building more features. Currently not on the production website, but in the background, we're building uh, stuff that you can directly drag furniture imaging here and then convert it into a rendered style, which a lot of actual users like the render version of the thing. So that gives you more, the more as if they were in the space with this
mm,
texture and this stuff. So that's why we're building or trying to build that. Yeah, that's basic. And also, it's cool. So
yeah, and it's pretty like lightweight, and you can easily scroll, navigate.
yeah, yeah, I'm trying to make as simple as possible. Much because a lot of times for the professional, very technical software, I mean, it's required to have a lot of buttons because architects, engineers need those things to make precise decision. But for regular people, what they really care about is, the visual is one aspect of it. Another one is does that actually fit in there? And so for them, I think material size matters.
So the end user is someone who just got an apartment in New York and who has access to floor plan.
Yeah, yeah. Whoever, moved to, for example, New York, and they want to quickly, have a gauge of the space, they can just drag it over, generate some furniture, or simply just in future drag in the furniture image, put it in here to see how big it is. Everything, I think, heavily around furniture. That's what they want, right? They want to see furniture fits, or even the painting fits on the wall from different angle, how the light reflects on the painting, how the light reflects on the furniture texture. Some people were saying like, hey, can you do a simulation of a real light so I can see if my plants can get enough sunlight? I was like, wow, that's a great point because in New York you don't get sunlight some of apartments, most of apartments, and you want to have the exact spot for those kind of things to get enough sunlight.
That's a great feature because, well, like, then it's a bit challenging. Then you have to have surrounding buildings and
Yeah, yeah. So that's another feature. Yeah, you're right. Like a lot of feature some people request, mostly from actually professional, I think, professional industries. They were like, especially real estate, they wanted to see the view, right? They wanted to, for
Hmm.
example, introduce this model in 3D to oversee buyers or renters. They wanted to show them how that actually looks like out of the window.
But I can also see like either the furniture vendor or even like brokers who like want to provide more, like, this is an empty space, but I want to show you the potential of this. So it might help them sell the vision to the potential.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, for sure. Yeah, I can see this as a very good tool for, especially for, yeah, in New York specifically, like you have. That's why I also started from New York is because there are like 800,000 people coming into New York every year, roughly. A lot of people, I think. Every one of them needs a home. They're Most of them are overseas, so having a place where they can prepare pre-planning for themselves, I thought will be useful, I think, for those.
Great product, man. It's very effective and like, oh, I think even like I'm just thinking out loud, even renovation people want if they're coating some new finishes and they want to quantify the wall areas from the floor plan, this would
Mm,
be useful.
yeah, yeah, renovation will be interesting. Yes, yes, yes. I think that yeah, they're also heavily relying on existing conditions. Right, right,
And they
sure,
want surface area quantity and you're calculating it.
absolutely. Yeah, that could be great. Great direction.
How does a week in your life look like?
I used to be very passionate about camping and I had a lot of camping tools and stuff. Now I don't know where they are. I don't know where they are. So maybe I need to look for it. Yeah, I haven't been camping for a long time. Mostly I think yeah, I'm stuck with the chair most of the time. It's a fun thing. I mean to developing something from for sure, but yeah, need to find some hobby.
What keeps you busy during the week?
So I'm developing this basically at late night and just to um, you know uh, uh, just so that I can have enough, enough time to push this further. I think most of the time just learning a lot of things. I didn't come with a very strong technical background. Before we already know, like architecture background. A lot of things I had to learn from scratch. Learning React, as ASP.NET, learning Python, learning well, all of the different libraries, how to get the features out quickly. Also aside from that, a lot of learning on running a sort of like a startup. It's not really
Yes.
a startup, really, but treating it as a just as a side project in a way. But also need to learn how to run it, to talk to potential users, find out what they need. At this point, this has been transforming a lot from the original idea. So I think probably actually compared to the technical advancement, I feel like probably talking to users, talking to people took most chunk of my time, understanding what people really need. And especially the people who are not technical architects or structural engineer. They're like from software engineer or from marketing or they're from banking. They're from all these different industries. They all have different ideas like how they wanted to use this tool. So like really to capture the essence. I'm not saying I'm an expert at it. I'm still trying to improve, but it's very hard to capture the core of it, what everyone wants. I'm still improving on that.
Yeah, and I can correlate a lot. Like going from technical founder to learning everything about like sales, customer marketing is also a journey in itself.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
tough. It's really
yeah.
tough. I learned from scratch about SEO. I didn't know that actually. I know it's surprising. It's already like post SEO age. Everyone should know SEO, but I didn't know it. I was like, what is SEO? I after I look at the first time I look at the SEO dashboard, I was like, wow, there are so many
Mm,
parameters I need to know. The keywords, like those things. But it's
it's a
tough.
whole another world.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm guessing cloud or OpenAI is making the coding life a bit easy compared to a few years ago.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. It helped me understand a lot of technical concepts, for sure. Instead of reading the entire research paper and without knowing a lot of terminologies, definitely this tool is accelerating that, especially on the research front.
Yankun, what is your piece of advice to 20-year-old Yankun who is at Pratt?
I've read. I would say I learn math. Math is so important. I'm regretting. I'm catching up a lot of math problems. Math important. A lot of things I'm solving today, math related. That's one. If I may give myself another suggestion, is to get out of there. Don't spend too much time in studio.
Mm,
Get out of there, talking to a lot of people, meet a lot of people. I know a lot of architecture students spend a lot of time in studio building models, perfecting a drawing. But I think, at the end of the day, I think architecture business still it's a people business. You need to spend a lot of time communicating, speak with a lot of people. It's not just drawing, building models. Yeah, I think spend more time outside of the studio. That would be second advice I'll give them to myself.
amazing. And any hot takes on Gen AI, image-based models, 3D AI?
Yeah, sure. I love the recently the Gaussian splat. It's so cool. That's a direction I would love to follow, to figure out and see what's going on behind the scene. What excites me about it is the way you can. It's a multiple process, right? You have to first of all remove background, the image that relies on AI amazingly, and also to convert the flat image into a point cloud and then recognize the elements. I mean, we're not there yet, but I feel like the next step is very exciting. Is to after you convert the image to point clouds, how do you identify the objects from the cloud? And I think that would be very interesting. Yeah, something I would love to learn and get better at.
Yeah, I think like your journey is full of like self-taught, going into a role from architecture. So anything which we didn't cover in this interview and you would like to end on that note?
Yeah, I think something extra, right? Aside from what we talked about, I really wanted to highlight maybe is it's a startup journey. Not even a startup journey, just start some side project. I know a lot of people are joining the development direction, at least from the people I know around me. They're all very excited, and uh, and I think that a lot of people struggle, and at least the people I know, they're very struggling with developing the in-depth technical understanding of all these different technologies. I feel like if you're developing your side project or even a startup, maybe you want to get the feature out first. That's what I'm thinking. Getting feature out first, it's gonna suck. It's gonna be terrible. I think get a feature out first and put it in front of people. I feel like that's something I learned from a terrible experience. And only people see it and they like it, then they prove it. Then I think it's worth it to make it more robust and useful. That's something I learned from painful experience. Hopefully
Well,
that's helpful for whoever is listening to this
yeah,
podcast.
that's a great message. Like the Y Combinator has that saying like, don't wait for the perfect moment, just like ship as soon as possible. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, worry about the scaling later. Worry about the, performance later. Worry about the infrastructure later.
Amazing. It was lovely hosting you. Good luck for the next journey of Minus Design
Awesome.
Labs.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it.